Hi everyone, this is Mohan from paultan.org and we are here today with the 2017 Versys-X 250. Now the 250 scene in Malaysia is fairly crowded. You've got naked bikes, you've got sports bikes, and now you have Kawasaki's dual-purpose sports touring bike. Now, the quarter-litre class is very popular in Malaysia simply because you only need a B2 license to ride it. And most everyone has a B2 license anyway. So in this case, for the Versys-X 250, Kawasaki is positioning it as a commuter bike, as a bike you can take long and short trips on. At 23,789 ringgit, the Versys-X 250 comes in right with the Ninja 250 in Kawasaki's range. What is different is you get a 19-inch front wheel and taller suspension, which gives the bike an entirely different character, despite the fact that both bikes use the same engine. The Versys-X 250 carries a 249cc parallel twin, which puts out 34 PS and 21.7 Nm of torque. Gearbox is a 6-speed affair, and at the front you can see that the exhaust pipes take a very weird bend. This is because the engine is tuned for torque more than top-end horsepower. The Versys-X 250 follows the design language of the other Versys bikes in the range, the 1000 and the 650. Up front, you've got a single halogen headlight, nothing fancy here with LEDs or DRLs. You've got a non-adjustable windshield, which does provide a fair amount of wind protection when you're riding. There's only one color option for the Versys-X 250, the green that you see here. And it does look a lot larger than it is for a 250. The plastic fairing molds into the 17-litre fuel tank, and we found that the fuel tank does give us a fair amount of range, almost close to 400 kilometers. The Versys-X 250 comes with something most 250s don't have, a center stand. At the back, you've got a bracket and a rack, which makes the Versys-X ready to accept a top box. The brakes on the Versys-X do not have ABS, which we feel is a bit of a shortcoming at this price point. Nissin calipers do the job up front, grabbing a 295mm pedal disc. The front suspension is non-adjustable conventional telescopic forks, while the rear monoshock is adjustable for preload. The seat on the Versys-X is fairly comfortable and there's a reasonable amount of fore and aft space. There's adequate support for the riders behind and seat height is 815mm. The cockpit of the Versys-X is conventional. You've got an analog tachometer and a digital speedometer, together with an LCD readout giving you the odometer, fuel gauge, clock, etc. The handlebar pods on the X250 are conventional. However, there's the inclusion of a hazard light switch. One thing we did like about the X250 were the mirrors. They give a very good view of the back and eliminate a lot of the blind spots. Inside the instrument panel, you will find two blanks, on the left for the 12-volt power socket and on the right for the riding lights, neither of which are fitted for the Malaysian market. So that's the numbers, that's the technical details, that's the fit out for the Versys-X 250. But what is this bike like to ride? Set up as a commuter machine, as an all-around machine, we expect a lot from it. Setting off on the Versys-X 250 is easy as. The clutch effort is very light and the 6-speed gearbox is smooth. There are no false neutrals to be found in this box and every gear clicks in with confidence. The Versys-X 250 needs to be revved to get the best out of it. Red line is at 12,000 RPM and things only start happening in the engine room above 7,000 RPM. The fuel injection on the Versys-X 250 is smooth and power delivery is linear. It's very controllable and it's good if you're new to bikes. The handling on the X250 took us by surprise. High speed work, low speed work, there were no complaints from us about the way the bike handled. Dropping it into corners at highway speeds, the bike felt fairly stable and there was no weave or wobble to be felt. When we built the speed up a bit, we found the X250 to be stable in a straight line and fairly comfortable actually. For a dual-purpose sports tourer, the X250 puts the rider in a commanding position, which is very comfortable over medium distances. Vibration on the X250 was quite good. There was a certain amount of buzz in the handlebars and the pegs, but it was something we could live with. Braking effort from the single front disc was adequate. We did wish for a little bit more stopping power, but at this price point, you can't really ask for much. And that's our review of the 2017 Kawasaki Versys-X 250. So, who needs a quarter-litre dual-purpose sports tourer? If you're new to the sport or coming back after a long layoff, or if you're just looking for something to run about town on, the X250 makes a very good choice. It's got fairly good handling, it's got good comfort and reasonable braking. However, it's a shame it doesn't come with ABS, otherwise it would score a lot highly on our list. I'm Mohan, thank you for watching. Please read the full review on paultan.org.